Any of the views expressed in this show do not represent the views or opinions of those participating. We are merely observers.
Please do not reenact any of the stories you hear on our show.
Being featured on our show is not something to be proud of.
And as always, please drink responsibly.
Father-daughter accused of incest found dead. Their baby is dead too.
Welcome to another episode of Laps and Drafts.
Oh my god.
My name is Jason Thomas, your resident fancy boy. Oh my god.
Jared, you're learning, man.
It's Tim, the old man.
I'm Ethan, the guy with the glasses.
Oh, so right off the bat, we lost all of our fans from that was an actual headline that Jared was just reading, just showing that the world is alive and well. So for those of you who have not listened to our show before, we go over strange news stories and cover a few different beers and what we do and do not like about them, also why we don't like Florida. So I'm going to go ahead and go right off the bat and start with our first story. This one is from WSJ.com. Headline reads, demand for American sperm is skyrocketing in Brazil. Sao Paulo.
Finally.
How much you paying?
With jewel tone eyes. I mean, can I make a living? Can I make a, I mean,
just jerking it all day.
I could, dude, I could completely populate that entire country. If you get me working 9-to-5 job down there, I'll populate the country. Blonde hair and smattering of light freckles, Othello looks nothing like most Brazilians, the majority of whom are black or mixed race. Yet the Caucasian American cashier, described in those terms by the Seattle Sperm Bank and known as donor 9601, is one of the sperm providers most often requested by wealthy Brazilian women, importing the DNA of young U.S. men at unprecedented rates. I mean, you just go up to them and ask, I'm sure they'd just give it away for free. Over the past 7 years, human semen imported from the U.S., I like how they had to clarify that, not just semen imports from the U.S., but human semen to Brazil have surged as more rich single women and lesbian couples select donors whose online profiles suggest they will yield light complexion and preferably
Wouldn't you want to know
blue-eyed
who it's
children.
coming from? You
do. It's
what if it's like
9601.
Well, no, but I mean, this semen belonged to Steve Buscemi. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you wouldn't want that one. Well, my kid looking like got hit by a truck.
Have you ever seen what Steve Buscemi looks like? Looked like when he was like younger,
No.
in his 20s?
Mm-mm.
Just like Scarlett Johansson. It is weird, which just means Scarlett Johansson, hold on to your butt.
Meth.
It's about to get rough.
Meth is a powerful drug.
Brazil is one of the fastest growing markets for imported semen in the recent years, said Michelle Audi, laboratory director of Virginia-based Fairfax Cryobank, a large distributor of the biggest importer or exporter to Brazil. More than 500 tubes of foreign semen, not good old American semen, frozen in liquid nitrogen arrived at Brazilian airports last year. Complete data from Anvisa, Brazil's healthcare regulator, isn't yet available for 2017. U.S. Sperm Bank directors and preferences like those of Brazilian purchasers hold across their global market. The vast majority of what we have and what we will sell are Caucasian, blonde-haired, blue-eyed donors, said Frederick Andreasen, CFO of Seattle Sperm Bank, which provides about a quarter of Brazil's imports. Everybody wants a pretty kid, and for many parents in Brazil, where prejudice often runs deep, that means the white biotype. I guess it's just because we live over here, everybody's white. I mean, everybody still treats you like crap, regardless of what you're doing.
Doesn't matter.
I got this shirt that I ordered, and it has everybody, like a whole bunch of people, like holding their arms out, and it's like next to each other. So you got like a white arm, Hispanic and Asian, a black, and like a super white arm because apparently that's a different race. And it just says "We're all scum" on it. And I can't wait for that shirt to
I
arrive.
feel like the super white one will be like Sweden.
Yeah,
something.
probably. But that's not really a race.
They're still white.
Yeah,
You're still white. There's more white.
I mean, you don't look at. I mean, I guess I've heard it's a problem amongst the black community of having them be like, light skin, dark skin. Like they have prejudice against each other in that aspect. So I guess
Yeah, it's very
I don't
weird.
know. For me, white people, it's just like I look at you like my thing with races, I just look at people, and if you're African American, I'm like, you don't sunburn easily. And then if I look at a Swedish person, I'm like, I hope the sun has mercy on you, my child. That's the only way. That is the only kind of thought process my brain goes through. Anyways, let's go on to our next story. Jared, take us away.
Neighbor dispute involving mower at Crestwood Drive in Port Macquarie on Saturday, February 24th. A quiet Saturday morning on a residential street in Port Macquarie turned into a crime scene after an alleged neighborhood dispute left an elderly man in the hospital with serious injuries. Emergency services were called to the property on Crestwood Drive in Port Macquarie at about 9:30 a.m. on Saturday, February 24th. They heard reports of two men fighting at the location. On arrival, officers from the Mid-North Coast Police District were confronted with a horrific scene as they found an 81-year-old man with severe injuries to his left hand, left forearm, and left inner thigh. Police have been told a large knife and a lawnmower were allegedly used during the fight between the two men.
Wow.
The knife wasn't enough. Let me go get my mower.
The elderly man was treated on the scene by the paramedics before he was taken to Port Macquarie Hospital.
They're trying to throw the two words Port Macquarie as many times as possible in this entire story.
It was said that the man lost his fingers on his left hand. A 72-year-old man was taken to the police station and assisting with their investigation.
So this is grumpier old men, Port Macquarie.
Yeah, it was like 81 versus 72.
Versus lawnmower. Who will win?
Women were seen leaving the property and comforting each other after the incident.
All the hookers just leaving. They're fighting with lawnmowers. Let's get out of here, Charlize.
There were reports from neighbors saying that there had been an ongoing dispute between two of the men over a patch of lawn.
Okay.
Police inquiries in the incident are continuing.
Oh, gosh.
Not over one particular property, but a little patch of land.
I just don't understand.
That's awful.
Yeah, we recently found out, like, the people next to us, apparently they built a garage, like, 3 or 4 feet over onto our property. Diana's mom has been wanting to, like, push to fight it and get that land back. And I'm like, what are you going to do with those 3 feet? Like, what are you going to do with that? And she was like, but it's mine. And I was like, but it doesn't matter. Like, it's 3 feet. It doesn't matter. You can't do anything back there anyways. And I'm just going to throw out here, Tim's looking up his next story, which we're about to get in, which has been super awkward for me because, well, go ahead and get into it. Go ahead and let's go into this next story.
Are you ready for it?
Yes, well, I've been looking at pictures of it this whole time as Jared's been reading. And I'm very, very confused and frightened.
I am too. I'm about to go ahead and give this story to you. The world's first sex doll brothel caters to those who don't want human touch. Patrons of the plastic prostitutes have mostly been respectful, but there was this one guy.
That's literally what it says too.
It only takes one.
There's this one guy. One apple ruins the entire sex brothel.
Absolutely.
Like the old saying goes.
That old chestnut, you know that.
It says in Dortmund, Germany, may be ground zero for the next sexual revolution.
Would be in Germany.
It would be. I got an open mind about these things.
Filthy.
Thanks to
And
the world's
Degenerates.
And anuses.
Gaping.
thanks to the world's first brothel showcasing silicone sex dolls called Bordal, I believe it is.
Bordal. Oh, that's funny. Because it's doll, you know.
Oh, Bordal. Got it.
Bordal, yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you now.
The brothel opened up last year to Johns wanting to enjoy the charms of one or more of the establishment's 13 female sex dolls and one male doll.
I want to enjoy the charm of someone whose eyes look like they're screaming for help.
It's not about the sex. It's about the personality you get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're all just so unique.
Each session with a doll cost around $101 an hour. And owner Evelyn Swartz says each doll is booked to work 12 sessions a day. Wow.
I'm in the wrong business.
According to the Metro.
You want to be one of the sex dolls? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, that, or I'll just own a bunch of them and rent them out for the day. I mean,
No, that's not how I took it. I took it as you wanted to be the
yeah, sure, I can do that.
Swartz purchased her silicone working
German.
dolls from Asia
That's what we do.
for around $2,538 each. Each plastic prostitute is a different size with different hair colors and breast sizes.
Good to know, but in 2 days those dolls paid themselves off. That's a quick refund on that money.
They all have a surprised look on their face for some reason.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. All their eyes are like screaming for help, which makes it. Yeah, I know exactly. That's what it looks like. That's why it's. I enjoyed the charm. You mean you felt like a rapist, and that was your thing.
I like it when they're dead.
I like it when they're dead, but also scared and alive. Yeah.
Okay, since opening the brothel doors, Schwartz said men of all over Germany have patronized the establishment and claims 70% have come back. Wow, good return business there.
Degenerates.
For many, it is not a fetish, but more of a curiosity.
Okay.
I'll be back 12 times. I'm still
The
curious.
25% that didn't come back, curiosity. The 75
that have
fetish.
returned, that's a fetish.
Okay, Schwartz says that it's not uncommon for women to wait outside the car while their husband has sex with a doll.
That's messed up.
Yeah, they see it as a toy, she said. And it continues on.
You could just have sex with your husband, but whatever. What do I know?
Where's your husband? I'm just waiting for him. He's in there having fun. Schwartz said most customers have treated the dolls with respect, but she's already had to replace one doll. The tragedy of all. Schwartz said a 5'1" blonde, blue-eyed doll's backbone was broken.
Oh my God.
She told Vice
Woo!
the customer created a second hole.
Oh, nice. All I can think of is Bane. I will break you, and then I will break up.
What would break first, your
I will
spirit
break
or
you.
your body?
Okay, I'm sorry. That's the
I
end of
will
the story.
spare you or your
I think that's enough.
Like that. Okay, let me see that first picture here. What is?
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, all the
Furry options do exist.
yes.
What?
You could
I
have
don't know
sex
what
with
that
a
means.
furry, like that the furries online.
Like a bear?
No, like the people who
dressed as
dress up like
yeah.
an animal.
Yeah.
In like the colorful animal suits, and then
So the doll can be dressed into
as a furry.
Sure. Whatever your taste is.
Gosh, just go to a convention and do
Turn
it.
John.
Yep.
At least you're not stabbing people. I say this, and I'm like, we're giving them a hard time.
I just think about the one guy that would like to just rape and murder, just pillage, because he has something wrong with his brain. And instead he just goes here and does all that sick crap and then goes home and everybody else is safe around him.
Yeah. I got rid of the demons. Time to go work back at the
Leaves
elementary
100. I'll be back when I get the crazy itch in my brain.
Yeah. I'll come back when the screams are too much to bear. Yeah, and it's always they always work. And like I said, I made a joke at the elementary school. They always work at some place. It was like, oh God, how did you get a job here? And
It's like having a candy store like right across the street from a public school. It's just not a good idea.
who was the killer that did that? I forgot. What was the name?
Oh,
Feel like Hot Rod. I forgot, but yeah,
Dean Coral.
Dean Coral, was that it? Yeah.
What did he do?
Oh, he done raped some people. All right, then take us to our next story.
right.
He created another hole.
Another wonderful flat Earth theory.
So name.
Instead of being about, this comes from the Flat Earth Society, but this time it's about Australia being a fake country invented to cover up a mass murder. Such
All
a
right.
reputable source.
Okay.
The latest bonkers conspiracy theory doing the rounds suggests Brit officials dreamed up Australia to cover up a brutal atrocity. According to one flat earther, the land down under is just all smoke and mirrors, and a ruse we thought responsible for greats like Kylie Minogue and Hugh Jackman. Australia is not real, they wrote in a viral Facebook post. It's a hoax made for us to believe that Britain moved over their criminals to someplace. In reality, all these criminals were loaded off the ships into the waters, drowning before they could ever see land again. It's a cover-up for one of the greatest mass murders in history. The post, which has been shared 50,000 times, goes on to claim that anyone who thinks they visited Australia is terribly wrong. Australia, a member of the British Commonwealth, is home to more than 24 million people. The Australia is fake theory surfaced last year, but has its roots in a Flat Earth Society forum thread from 2006.
All I want to see is whoever wrote this. I want to put them and Russell Crowe in the same room
Right.
to see what happens.
Yep.
Because I know Russell Crowe believes that Australia is real.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of them that do.
There's a lot of people.
I think that I'm from a real country. Yeah.
No. It turns out Australia is just the bottom of Britain. So people that have gone to Australia have just gone to the inside of the Earth, because Hollow Earth theory, and now they're on the underside, and that is.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you know that guy we covered that story, the dude in the rocket who actually finally shot off in the rocket,
Yes.
but didn't get anywhere because it turns out 18,000 feet is nowhere near high enough to see the curvature of the Earth.
I don't know if you got that
Which
high.
literally everybody and their best friend probably told him. And like I mentioned in our podcast, you can get in a plane and go 38,000 feet and just look out the window. That guy's going to die soon. I can only hope for it. I want so little in life. Besides, there's only two things I want in life. That guy to burn up in the atmosphere, and Elon Musk just to destroy the world. So Elon, it's not much to ask. You already made a car run on like the sweat of small people. So you can figure this out.
Sorry.
You can figure this out. I have faith in you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get to our first beer of the evening. Ethan, tell us what it is.
It's from Kentucky Bourbon Barrel. The Peach Barrel Wheat Ale. We've had Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ales on here before. They're just a company out of Lexington, Kentucky. Says that they're actually on the world famous Kentucky Bourbon Trail Experience. So I mean, they're fairly popular.
Mm-hmm.
The Peach Barrel Wheat Ale. It says is a light, crisp ale, perfect for lazy, sun-drenched summer days. It says images of your real or fanciful old Kentucky home and bourbon country are conjured up with every sip, thanks to the brew's 6-week aging period in a fresh Kentucky bourbon barrels. Our barrel aging process balances hints of caramel and vanilla and subtle cereal notes with the juiciness of a fresh, ripe peach, creating a golden color. Enjoy this light-bodied, refreshing offering before the bright rays of summer fade into fall. 8% alcohol. Hops uses East Kent Goldings and Fuggles. Fuggles.
Made up word.
Malts, two-row pale. Carapuls. And this says dextrin in parentheses. And then white wheat. Let's see what else. I think that is it. I think is this a seasonal? I think it's a seasonal.
I think it is.
Okay, it is. Okay, availability in the summer from May to July.
Yeah, it's
I think it's done right.
Yeah,
it's a very clear,
it's
crisp
very,
taste.
yeah, it's better to say it's very, very light beer. It has a golden color. It has medium head on it. It definitely has peach aromas.
Mm-hmm.
And that initial taste that you hit is caramel.
Right.
It's caramel and vanilla, and it ends on vanilla, but you get peach and throughout it.
I guess this particular beer has won 3 awards: the 2017 Tastings World Beer Championship silver medal, a 2016 U.S. Open Beer Championships gold medal, and then another silver medal that year as well. So
Wow.
I think it tastes pretty good. I think it's something that I could, if I drank enough, it'd probably grow on me, but it's not one
I'm
really
getting
pick
peach,
out.
and then that's it.
Really? I get caramel. Like, that's what hits me in the face.
Caramel and peach.
Caramel.
Caramel and peach.
Yeah, I guess that
front.
little aftertaste there. After it kind of set for a minute, I get a little bit of caramel there.
I
But
definitely
I
get
definitely
vanilla.
really enjoy it. It's very good to me.
Yeah, I get vanilla. Sure, it's just peach is not
It's a smell.
common
Yeah, it's
for
not.
beer in general, so it caught my eye, and it's a seasonal.
Good. Yeah,
so
it's good though.
That's why
yeah.
I said I think it would grow me if I drank it enough. I think
Yeah.
I could drink it. It's well done. I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's very well balanced.
Mhm.
I'll take that.
But it's a smooth beer, not very heavy. Definitely a summer beer.
8%, you said alcohol,
it's pretty
So,
pretty
yeah.
strong.
and you don't notice that.
That's the second 8% we've had, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
recently, yeah. So it was, but it's very, I don't know. I enjoy the taste. It has a very unique taste for sure. And the caramel or caramel, whatever you want to say.
Caramel, no,
Caramel.
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 Carousel.
The carousel is delicious.
But it's not.
Peach
it's
is not a very popular
no
flavor
It's
in a
it's
beer.
unique, but it's very straightforward.
I don't usually do peaches in general unless I'm going to the country and I'm going to eat a bunch of them.
Yeah.
You get it? It's the President's of the United States of America song. Moving to the country, gonna eat a whatever. Shut up.
I mean, it just sounds like you're gonna go down south to eat buttholes, but
I wasn't sure.
that's what I was like. He was like, and I was
It's
like,
a-
are we on the same level
It's
here?
a song from
Sure.
the President of the United
Sure
States
it
of
is.
America.
Sure it is.
Fun fact: the guy from that band ended up stopping the band and started writing music for porn.
Cool. That's fun. It makes a lot of sense. So on, what are we gonna give a rating out of 5 for this on Untapped?
3.5.
I think
would say.
I think it's a 4 as far as
3.5, 4.
You
It's
know.
good.
That's
on
a
its
four.
quality of it. It's really
4.
good.
We will meet in the middle and do a 3.75.
You suck.
Works perfect.
Works.
That's the average.
That's the average. It's the story of my life.
Pretty good though.
Average. It's pretty good, but there's
Could be
definitely a
better.
ton of room for improvement. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into our next story of the night. This one is from NOLA.com. Headline reads, Louisiana homeowner finds naked intruder in her tub eating Cheetos.
Eating
Cheetos?
Cheetahs?
Cheetos, but with the nasty.
Cheetos.
And eating them Cheetos.
Cheetos.
Eating Cheetos. Monroe, L.A., which is for Louisiana. Not to be confused with California, Los Angeles. That stands for like whale's penis or something in Spanish. I don't know. Police in Louisiana say a woman came home to discover a naked stranger in her tub eating her Cheetos while taking a bath. A Monroe police affidavit says 29-year-old Evelyn Washington was arrested on burglary and property damage charges.
Not Evelyn.
Not Evelyn. He was the last one to sit naked in a tub. The Fort Worth Star-Telegram reports a responding officer found a tub full of water and a plate of food along with a half-eaten Cheetos belonging to the victim on the toilet next to the tub. Washington told the homeowner, the police, that an unknown male had told her to break into the house. Police found a tall ice chest under a broken window. It's unclear she has a lawyer. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead and assume that she does not have a lawyer. I don't know. If someone broke into my house, I'd probably just be like, just replace the window and be gone with you. Like, I'm not going to press charges and have you arrested and have all
Most
this
important thing is the Cheetos.
Unless you had a
Yeah.
bag of Cheetos in your cupboard, you know.
Well, if you have a bag of Cheetos, you've already gone wrong somewhere in life. You shouldn't be eating Cheetos.
And don't
Have
be
you seen
in-
those? They look like, imagine like a chip, but then it just got real bad cancer and died and continued to rot and then solidified into a fossil. And that's what you're eating.
It's like a spore or
Those
something.
are-
Yeah,
those are delicious.
You're eating
Fungus.
somebody who is old and petrified and now is like, it's just like a fetus. That's what all the fetuses that.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
Speaking of Louisiana,
Mhm.
Louisiana woman creates frog bikini. When Fabiana LeFleur decided to make her own bikini, she hopped right to it,
Oh,
which makes sense since she
Oh,
used
that's
frogs
funny.
as the material. 28-year-old LeFleur lives in Henderson, Louisiana, and grew up hunting and fishing around the bayou.
Around the bayou.
Her father taught her not to
No.
waste anything from an animal.
Don't wear anything from an animal.
When my father took a deer, he always made it a point to use every part that he could.
I use the mouth. I use the butthole. I use everything. Everything I use it.
Not only eating the meat, but also tanning the hides.
Oh yeah.
I continually tan the hides.
Sometimes even carving the bones into knife handles.
Oh, I do it. I use every part. That sounds about right.
She recently decided to apply her father's advice to amphibians. I went out hunting and caught 7 frogs, which worked out well because one of them didn't turn out well.
Turned out I only need 6, and 7 was just too much, but it worked out. Just a happy accident.
I didn't choose carefully from a large catch. The most difficult part of making the bikini was the skinning of the frogs.
Is that frogs are kind of small? You can't get not a lot of skin on those things.
Normally, to fillet a frog, you would just make a cut around the belly and pull off the pants to expose the legs.
Pants.
That's bayou speak. You
Pants?
strip the skin off the legs down.
Didn't no frog wear pants.
To keep the whole thing intact, I had to turn them completely inside out without damaging the skin, so it's a more delicate operation. The result, as you can see, are truly riveting.
No.
Photos of LeFleur in the
God.
frog swimsuit are going viral.
You see, it's real hard because I got to cover up my titties with frog skin. And there's not a lot of skin on frogs, so. Can I see a picture of this lady?
Yeah, yes, you can. It's actually
I can't.
not
I
bad.
can't decide whether it's attractive or not. I'm trying. My brain is. I thought she actually had skinned the frogs, and like they look like frogs that just had strings tied around their legs.
so
She didn't
basically,
even have to skin
they're
them.
like strung together.
So I think I'm looking at 3 frogs here.
Yes.
Maybe 4. I don't know.
Well, maybe you got 2 for the butt cheeks as well, so and maybe 3 for the skin in between. You got to cover up your private area in case you're doing activities as well.
Yeah, it just looks like she
They don't even
Like,
look like they're
took-
skinned.
like
They-
bought some like frogs out of what do they call that, from like a taxidermist, and just like put some strings
Yeah.
through them and
Basically,
just
yeah.
That's
strapped
the
them to
confusing
herself.
part is they really don't look like they're skinned. They look like
Been gutted and
Like
well,
bloated
not
frogs.
even gutted. It looks like you've basically taken and nailed 2 frogs' face together, and they're still nothing's been done to them. You just did this, and then tied some strings around their legs, and then made the bra strap. And the same thing with like, I don't know what's going on in the downstairs. There's a bit of a mix-up going on down there.
Downstairs mix up.
Seen you downstairs mix-up. You know me. You love me. I'm hungry.
Remember the boat times?
You pull me up with your big strong arms.
Urbanites might find the idea of going skin to skin with an amphibian a little hard to take, but LeFleur said frog hides are no different from any other animal byproduct used to
where is
make
this
clothing.
at?
Louisiana.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
Yeah. The only difference is that you can really see what they are in my suit. I didn't cut off the limbs and the heads. I thought it was more interesting aesthetic. Personally, the process of extracting silk from worms seems a lot grosser than stitching a couple hoppers together.
Really? Because you know what happens when you extract silk from worms? You just let them make silk, and then you take it, or you hook them up to a machine where it literally just kind of pulls it out of them at a slow pace. But I guess, taking an animal, gutting it, pulling its pants off, and stretching the skin over your bits is definitely less horrifying than just letting it produce silk on its own. But what do I know?
Once the frog hides were dried, she sewed them together
Mm-hmm.
and then covered them with several layers of shellac to make the bikini waterproof.
Mm.
Although she is happy with the results, LeFleur admits wearing the suit presents some challenges. They don't have an underwire, so there's not as much support
Not a
as
lot
a
of support
standard
from my
bathing
breastises.
suit. She said, as a piece of sportswear, a wardrobe malfunction would be inevitable.
Well, yeah, you do the activities. You dance around a lot in the water.
My uncle has a bear skin hanging in our family's hunting cabin, and my mother says I should hang it right next to that. She said, I think it's a pretty good place for it. She hopes her frog bikini inspires more people to find ways to use materials they would otherwise discard. However, she has no plans to go into the business selling similar suits. The process really isn't efficient enough to charge a reasonable price. I'd be more
Or
inclined to
anything.
give them a more detailed explanation of how I made mine. Stuffing a frog is definitely not a carefully guarded trade secret.
Speaking of discarded items and materials that could be used that are often thrown away, human skin. We really don't do a lot with it. We could probably do a lot more. Lampshades, belt buckles made out of nipples.
I tell you, Ed
man,
Gein had something
If
right.
there's something that I could just request when I pass away, just take all the skin from my upper body and just make like a sweet bikini out of it. Just like
a one piece.
yeah, just like a sweet one piece. It definitely could fit like anybody that's relatively small. Like you could fit everything. And my skin's kind of stretchy, so I mean, you're gonna sweat a lot in it, though. I'll tell you that much. You best get ready to.
Probably could
get
fit
some
a
moistness.
size 14, 16 woman.
You're gonna sweat a lot inside my skin. I'll tell you that much right now. All right, take us on to the next story.
Okay, let's talk about some poop.
Let me cleanse my palate with some feces.
There you go. This is why strangers keep pooping on man's garage, and he's had enough. He said this isn't a nighttime problem. It occurs only during the day.
Well, when you try to poop in the shadows, there's a chance for attack.
Matthew Drayton from Cardiff, Wales says he's counted at least 5 incidents in which people have defecated in the lane behind his property in the last few years. Matthew's house backs up to the Partridge Lane in Roth area of the city. The 49-year-old man says who lives at his home is with his wife and toddler, said drug users are to blame for deciding his property is a toilet. Matthews now installed a CCTV to catch the culprits out. Right. Children have stopped playing in the nearby park due to overflowing bins and syringes. I cycle to work to a couple of times a week, and we use the lane a lot because of our bikes. One time I cycled straight out, and it was all over my tires.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Another time my wife had been to soft play with her toddler. Okay.
Wow,
It
what's
must be a
that?
place. It's a place that's just everything's covered in pillows,
Evidently,
and
yeah.
you throw
And
your
bubble
child
wrap.
against the wall, and it's okay because it doesn't hurt them.
Yeah. And had to negotiate the fences, or the feces to get back into the garage, as someone had done it while she had been away. We always have needles and syringes in the lane. This is all sorts of drug paraphernalia.
See, that would be what I'd be more worried about.
Yeah, the feces,
Is
you can wash that off.
The needles. The greatest thing is you just take a day or two off, and you wait for somebody to start pooping there. And that's when you come out with the baseball bat and you just start hitting them in the face. And they don't poop there anymore because they find out even though they're pooping in the daytime, there's still a chance for attack.
True. Yeah. Well, it goes on to say that Matthew has recorded a number of people squatting behind his garage and going to the loo. In one clip, a woman brings her own toilet roll. Well, that's convenient. It is likely that other instances have occurred uncaptured on Matthew's recording device. The dad said he plans to install lighting in the troubled area and may only make the situation worse, he says. That's like he said, it's not a nighttime problem. It occurs only during the day. The garage is slightly set back so that cannot be seen from the entrance to the lane.
I grow great flowers there.
Well, he's got a great area you can take a big dump in.
Drop some dumpage.
I just don't. I don't know what the thing is, and it's been like it was pretty like prevalent in the news, like recently when we were looking at news stories for today.
There's one
like,
in New Jersey.
There's
that was
like
doing that too.
6 or 7 stories about either people pooping in random places, people taking a dump in a Tim Hortons, and then there was one of like people. Oh God, what was the other one? There was one. It was a lady that was on the bus. Literally just dropped trowel while the bus was going and just peed and pooped everywhere, all over the floor. And it's just like, apparently that's the thing now, is just road pooping.
Or the jogger that we talked about.
Yeah, that
Some
one
of the
a while
earlier
back.
That person, the
episodes.
guilt got to her though,
Yeah.
and she turned herself in and was like, "Look, this is my anus." Bent over, spread them, and you're like, "That's our culprit right there."
Line them. I can imagine the scene where they arrest people and they're like, "All right,
It's
pull
like
your pants down and
it's
spread."
like rifling on a bullet. They have the turn, and they're rifling.
Ballistics tell us.
Ballistics tell us that this is the butthole that this came from. See, the thing is, everybody's butthole's like a snowflake. Not one is similar.
They're all unique.
They're all unique.
The lines on this one show us that it's
Yeah.
come from your rectum.
This is from your colon right here, and we know you live off a strictly wheat diet, judging by the color of your poop. All right, take us away to our next story.
Well, speaking of poop, woman detained after feces flinging incident. She wasn't an accident. At a Langley Tim Hortons. It says Langley.
There it is.
It's not Langley, Virginia. It's actually in Canada.
Canada.
I looked on the map where it was. It's like just on the other side of the border from Washington.
Yeah.
So
You know it's Canada when you hit Tim Hortons.
Yep. A woman could be
Hey.
facing charges after an irate confrontation at a Langley Tim Hortons Monday, ending in feces being thrown at the staff. On Wednesday, surveillance video showing Tim Hortons staff being harassed was posted on LiveLeak and YouTube. In the video, which has no sound, a woman can be seen screaming at staff before squatting on the floor and relieving herself. She then picks up the excrement and throws it at staff. Langley, RCMP, Corporal Holly...
Take that.
Corporal Holly... Lord... Largy?
Largy.
Lethargic, confirmed that
Legariathon. Come on.
confirmed that RCMP received a complaint. She said a woman was detained and released, but she was supposed to attend court at a later date. The BC Prosecution Service will review the circumstances and determine if charges will be laid. The Tim Hortons employee had apparently denied the woman access to the restroom. Our current understanding is that the team member used their discretion in this case and denied access to this guest based on past behavior and out of concern for the immediate safety of team members and guests in the restaurant. As matters escalated,
Excremated? We had the same exact
as matters
conversation going the same
escalated,
direction.
the team member contacted local authorities for assistance. Tim Hortons said in a statement. The company says they are working with the franchise owner and it will be looking into the matter further. We are deeply concerned by this video as the safety of our team members and guests is always a top priority for us. In limited cases across the country, restaurants have restricted access policy for restrooms to ensure the well-being of our guests, the statement said. And it pretty much happened. I heard about the video. One of the guys at work was telling me about it, and it's exactly as it describes. You can see her yelling and like ranting and raving about something, and she just like pulls down her pants, takes a dump, picks it up, and just starts throwing
The
it.
crazy thing is that the whole D pants crap, cockback throw
That's a lot of work,
happens
man.
so fast.
Yeah.
She's just like stops, boom, she drops it and launches it,
And then
just
you
like,
can see her as she's yelling, she's grabbing like napkins and like wiping and then
Wow.
throwing them, and then grabs another napkin, wipes, throws
See,
it.
Wow.
once again,
It's
going
like
back
a-
to my statement about I don't know how you could do that because like I couldn't have that poop in between my cheeks. And that shows it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how insane you are, clean butthole, clean cheeks, always.
That's right.
Even people who are clearly unstable require the clean crevasse. All right, going into our last beer of the evening. Ethan, tell us what we're getting into here.
All right, it is a smoke beer, from Germany.
Do your best.
I'm gonna do my best. Says in the middle of the old part of the Bamberg, directly beneath the mighty cathedral, one can find the historic smoked beer brewery, Schlenkerla. I think is how you pronounce that. First mentioned in 1405 and now run by the Trum family in the 6th generation. It is the fountain of the original Schlenkerla smoke beer.
Yep,
Um,
yeah, dang.
Let's see.
That is an obnoxiously long name.
The smoked beer is here at the brewery tavern, still being tapped directly from the wooden barrel according to old tradition.
That smells like a meal.
Let's see.
First, what we do, we sacrifice the goats. And then we just brew beer.
It smells like meat and everything else. It does, don't it?
Wow.
It does. Like a barbecue.
Yeah.
They have a
smells
pretty
fantastic.
lengthy description because I mean I guess this particular beer and the tradition of it goes back a few hundred years if not more. So
his father before.
okay. This beer has a 5.1% alcohol content. Its smoky flavor is being achieved by exposing the malt to the intense aromatic smoke of burning beechwood logs at the Schlenkerla maltings. After mixing it with the premium class hops in the brew, it matures in 600-year-old cellars deep down in the hills of Bamberg.
I just want to go ahead and throw out there, it doesn't matter how old your cellars is.
Wow.
A cellar is a cellar. So don't start
Into
to get fancy here with
A
600 years
mellow,
old.
magnificent tasting beer, best drunk directly in Schlenkerla. So you got to go there to drink it right, apparently.
Schlenkerla.
An original amongst the beers, even amongst the Bavarian beers. But yeah, I mean that's kind of tried to whittle down. Like I mean they got quite the biography. But
When the Earth began,
Yeah, exactly.
back in 1922, because it started then. Everything before 1922 was a lie,
If you can get past
just like
the-
Australia.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad. I feel like I'm drinking like barbecue
Yeah,
like
drinking
pulled
bacon.
or something.
Yeah.
You know, like
It does. Like there's
Have
protein
you
in there.
ever eaten flesh and been like, I wish this was liquefied and I could just swallow it in one shot? Boom.
Yep.
I haven't actually tried it yet. I'm waiting for it to come on around the gravy train.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it definitely smells like barbecue.
Yep.
super. I just figured I don't think we've covered any smoky beers yet.
No.
So that was
I don't.
It's
If
really
I'm
good.
honest, I don't see the appeal.
It tastes like beef jerky.
Yeah.
It tastes like
does,
drinking beef
doesn't it?
jerky.
I kind of like it.
I mean, it's not bad. I think if you were a Scotch fan, this would be your beer.
It is, yeah, for sure.
It definitely may be a pairing thing too with what you're eating it with.
It does help.
Barbecue,
Baked
maybe.
potato.
meat, something dead.
Just like eat pulled pork, and then you take a drink, and this is like they're the same. It tastes exactly the
I
same.
can't tell which one was which.
I don't know which one. I'm just gonna start putting one in one hole, one in the other, just so I go.
Does it
hope
talk
all
about?
works out.
Does it talk about the ingredients?
Yeah, he went over
A
it.
little bit. Yeah. Let me see if I can find it again. It just
Sorry.
says
That's real bad.
it doesn't really get
I
into
zoned
detail.
out.
It just says after mixing it with premium class hops in the brew, it matures in really old cellars because that makes a difference.
I like my
Really
Deep in the hills of this, of a bomb bird. They really are pretty vague. Like they don't really just describe much. It's just like
that way all the
trust me, it's awesome. It's awesome because it's old.
How do
I'm
you
a kid.
smoke? I don't know actually
Smoke.
how you
Smoke.
smoke. How you smoke a beer though?
You put it in a barrel in a 600-year-old cellar,
600-year-old.
and you hire some homeless guy down there just to scream smoke.
So detailed about how that happened. I don't know how it works.
My
but
homeless
it
man is
not bad.
300 years old. I like my homeless people to be matured and aged to perfection.
It's my Uncle Joe. After we cooked him
My Uncle
on
Joe.
open grill.
Me and my uncle made things in our basement. He smelled like cigarettes.
Sound like cigarettes. I played with
This brings back good
his
memories.
magic socks.
It's growing on me though. I didn't think it would.
I mean, it's
Much
it
like
is-
being attacked in a cellar.
I think
This is going on.
At first, it's terrible, but you know what? It's really not too bad.
It's relatively smooth. I've had
it is for being that strong, a smoky
I mean,
flavor. It's pretty
really.
smooth.
I'll bring in because the first smoky beer I ever had was at New Albanian was Bonfire of the Valkyrie, and to
That
me,
one was good. I like that one.
see, I don't like that one.
That was like
very
drinking
much.
tar, though.
Yes, it is. It is
Mhm.
strong, but I can do this one.
I had a hard time choking that one down. The bonfire.
Yeah, this one is. I mean, it's like I really do. I feel like I just ate a stick of beef jerky. Like the taste is still in my mouth. It is.
It's not bitter at all.
It's not.
It's real smooth.
I mean, it
It's
just tastes like meat, like smoked meat.
I like to have a
and-
baked potato with it.
I mean, I'd like to have a baked potato with everything, Tim. We don't always get what we want. Life is full of compromises.
Life sucks. I want my
Life-
baked potato.
Life sucks, then you die, just like my dad always said.
I don't know. I mean, it achieves what they set out to achieve. I mean, it's a smoky beer. You know, it's like
It's not really a positive thing to say.
no. I mean, because
It's
I
like,
don't like it.
He
I don't
killed
really have
14
anything.
people. Well, he achieved
Yeah.
what he said.
You know,
to
he
achieve.
wanted to kill people, and he did it. So you got to
He
give him
did
that.
it. You got to give
He
him
achieved his dream.
credit where credit's
Yeah.
Definitely
I don't know.
smoky.
It's not my jam, but
Yeah.
I don't want to give it a bad rating just because I don't like it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean but that's the whole thing about this Untapped, the app that we've been using. It really is. I mean, there's thousands of people using it, so I mean, even if we get a bad rating, I mean, it does help kind of guide people away. If you'll know,
yeah.
you're not going to go in and be like, "Hey, smoke beer," and like, I'll grab that. You're going to be like, "No, you're not going to spend money
Yeah.
on alcohol if you don't know what it is."
right.
If you walk into a bar and you want smoked beer, you're going to know what's there, and you're going to come in there for smoked beer.
Mhm.
And then you're going to go down into your cellar and you're going to find some person down there who's been locked waiting for you,
You gotta
chained
read-
against
you
the
gotta-
wall.
I got to read this quote they have on their website. It says, even if the brew tastes somewhat strange at the first swallow, do not stop. Because,
Oh,
because
That's
soon
what
you
she
will
said.
realize that your thirst will not decrease and your pleasure will visibly increase. You'll become visibly more aroused
Man.
as you drink this beer.
it's a sexual beer.
Thirst has increased and my pleasure has increased.
This is very German. Like, just everything about it.
They said you can pair this
And then
with just
we'll
a
break
steak.
up the whips.
It said, it pairs with just a steak or even like grilled vegetables.
Meat.
So, yeah, basically, just have
Meat
any
or
kind of
plant
meat
meat.
with it. It's like, it's over. Okay, so I've been taking a lot more sips than everyone here, but after a while, the smokiness is not as intense. It's more sweet now.
Do you find your pleasure increasing?
It is. It's
It
bizarre.
is. I
But
have
that
to-
crazy crowd is right.
I need 5 minutes alone.
Yep.
I'll keep trying it. Maybe I'll get aroused.
Maybe your pleasure will increase too. Your thirst will increase. Your pleasure will increase.
You got smoked.
Oh no, man!
Okay, I'm done.
I mean, it's
not what I look for in
it's a
beer.
very particular taste beer. I mean,
Yep. Man,
I just wanted to.
it's not something I'd get every time.
I
But
felt like we had been doing.
it's definitely
a
unique,
lot of
and
the same thing,
it's good for what
so-
it is. But my pleasure did not increase. I'm sorry.
So for Untapped, out of 5,
I give it a 3. I
I
mean,
think so too.
either 3 or lower. I mean, it's because it's good for what it is. But if you like smoke beers, this is good.
2.75.
I wouldn't judge it on your palate. I mean, but I'd judge it on the quality of the beer. I mean, I think it's what, like Ethan said, what they set out to do with make a smoky beer, and they did an excellent job, I think. So based on quality of beer, I'd give it a 4.
Definitely, I think all the both beers that we've had tonight, and even the ones we had last week, how they were their description match exactly to a T what we had. So at least they're getting it right, because you can have plenty of different IPAs or really a lot of the craft beer I think that we've had in the past where they're like, you're supposed to taste this and this, like vanilla, or you're supposed to
we've
and
had
it's
smell
like,
cat urine.
We've
Yeah,
had
and it's
some
just
beers that didn't live up to what they
No.
say, what they
Yes,
claim
yes,
to
that's
taste
true.
like. So I mean, this one does actually.
pretty good. So I am at least happy about that.
So thank you all so much for listening to another episode of Laughs and Drafts. As always, you can find us on all the social media platforms. You can also find us on iTunes. Please go on there, like one of the shows, rate it. You don't have to listen to ours. Maybe listen to someone else's. But if you do listen to ours,
But like
leave a
ours
comment.
anyways.
Like ours anyways.
Just
Leave
drop a
comment.
like, listen to somebody else.
Talk about how Ethan is the guy with the glasses this week. I think that'll be a good subject for conversation. And yes,
We're also on Spotify, and we are on Twitter at Laughs Drafts.
And also on Facebook, check us out, Laughs and Drafts.
And we're on patreon.com/laughs and drafts, where you can pay us money and we'll give you things. Tickle your belly button.
tip your belly button. That's the top
That's the big
tier
seller.
reward this time around. I can't tell you. Ethan had to quit his full-time job. He essentially travels around the United States
tickling
now,
belly buttons.
and he tickles belly buttons. He doesn't leave his car though. That's a little bit
No,
extra.
you got to get in my car.
Yeah, you get in his car, and you know what? Free of charge, we make missing persons posters for you. So once you're gone, we'll put up the posters of you for you. I mean, really, if you think about it, it's a great deal.
But in all reality, I mean, any and all donations just help keep us going.
Like, what happened to like the good old just your mom and pop murder shops where you could just go get murder for like a nickel or for free. You just go in there. And, it may be like a small price. You got to let them touch your peen, but then they'll kill you afterwards.
2-for-1 deal.
2 for 1. You could bring your friends.
Those days are over, I think.
I think it is. I think, really capitalism is really where it's gone downhill. The state of
50s
America.
were a great time.
Yeah, 50s were a great time. We could just
You could murder a whole family for
you could buy a whole family for what? A penny? If that. Drinking meat ain't my thing.
You're like chewing your meat.
I like getting in there, sinking in my teeth. I don't like my meat just sloshing around in my mouth. I like hard meat.
Firm meat. Get my hands in
Meat, it's what's for
I
dinner.
need to get some more frogs and make another outfit. This is my kind of drink. Making a nice dress. I can drink some meat.